An update on Justin Baldoni v. Blake Lively. I didn't really do a video about documenting the pleadings that Justin has filed for Justin and Wayfarer, and that has to do with some of the counts as regards Blake Lively's lawsuits and retaliation, sexual harassment, and the likes. For the retaliation, I think that has to do with her contract not being signed, and so therefore the law is not going to be so applicable to her. And some of the other counts having to be under California law in the manner in which her lawsuit is filed. And since the lawsuit is being handled in New York by New York federal courts, it's not going to be applicable like she wants it to. She has obviously responded in her own petulant, because Wayfarer said for her sexual harassment, she has to be able to prove harassment. She's replying that she doesn't have to prove it. It's just a back and forth. If you want a full breakdown of that, I recommend going to, Cassidy O'Connell, or going to Not Actually Golden on TikTok, or going to My Favorite Without a Crystal Ball on YouTube. I don't really know most of the law shenanigans. I get that from them. Now, my thing is that I'm going to talk about the PR stunt that Blake Lively and her husband are allegedly trying to do. Ryan is promoting one of his movies that nobody really cares about. And he's trying to make it about himself when it's I think it's a biographical movie about a late comedian. Don't remember his name now because I don't really care about Ryan and his projects, except when it has to do with Justin and he's trying to use it to harm Justin. Anyways, in one of those clips, he spoke about when he was trying to talk to some people concerning his business dealing or whatever, and he was supposed to get into an event with Blake, and then Blake was trying to tell him that, hey, it's time for us to go in, and then he turned to her. By his own self, in his own words, he told her, F you. My thing is, people became angry, and now there's publications everywhere about how Ryan spoke to her, and apparently Blake is not happy, blah blah blah. Look, I don't care about their marriage. If they stayed married to the end of time, that's their problem. They have kids. I don't have issue with their kids, and no child should come from a separate home, except there's like violence happening in that home or something that's going to be damaging to that child's health or psychology or emotional stability. I don't think they should be separated from their parents or having to juggle. So I don't know how they are with their kids. I hope they're the best parents on earth, and I hope the kids have a stable home for that reason. As regards to two of them, I just think this is a PR stunt for Blake. Ryan is probably gonna let me take this. Let me just take the fall here. So he's going to look like the bad guy, and this is going to ramp up sympathy for Blake. In my opinion, I think that's what this is. But let's not forget that Blake is not an innocent person. She's been making jabs at people. We saw that during her Gossip Girl promotion, how she was making condescending remarks to Leighton Mister, who was her second co-star in the show Gossip Girl, and whose parents her mother gave birth to her in prison because her parents were in prison when she was born, and then Blake making a joke about someone being born behind bars, something like that, and how she herself has also come out to say that she isolated the cast from Penn Badley, who she eventually dated, but who was a love interest for the show. She said it too, that she didn't like him, so she isolated the cast from him. So she has a history of being nasty to people. I'm not saying it's good that her husband is nasty to her, but I'm saying I don't have sympathy. And please, I beg you, do not fall for it. Thank you. Don't fall for it. That's all I have to say about that situation. As regards the rest of the Justin trial, we hope the judge rules in his favor, but history is showing he doesn't do that. As regards the, deposition that was supposed to happen with someone in Sunny, one of the top people in Sunny, from what I've gathered from some lawyers, the plaintiff is not meant to decide in that scenario about the deposition of the man himself because he's a witness for Blake. But now there was a whole back and forth, and obviously Wayfarer was saying they didn't have time, and they were trying to create a situation where they would have more time. But the judge ruled in Blake's favor and gave Blake what she wanted, which is more time. Shocker. Or we're going to talk about the whole Taylor Swift situation where they needed extension because they needed to make more time to do Blake's Taylor Swift's deposition. But she has an album coming out in October, and there was whole logistics. Taylor, being herself, wanted to defend herself, came out and made the whole thing look much more dramatic than it should have been anyways. But then the judge ended up ruling in Blake's favor. So he gave her an extension to do her own depositions, but he didn't give Wayfarer. Another shocker. So I don't know. The Touts Crystal Ball has said that, we shouldn't be ruling based. We shouldn't be saying that because he's been giving them Blake's side more favorability when it comes to discovery this is the law. I hope so. I don't really trust Judge Lyman. I just hope for the best for Justin. So that's all I can say. Hopefully he rules in his favor. And then we can kick out the retaliation claims, which is going to decimate Blake's entire case. And then they can try and do summary judgments for sexual harassment and the others. Anyways, that's all I have now. Bye.